A lot of talk about the up-tempo nature of the offense. You guys talk about that a lot in the spring too. Just why is that so important to you guys, and how do you feel like that's going to work this year?
I think we'll evolve, and it's kind of what you can do, what you need to do, and there's different times in game, and it's not like you're frantic. It's no different playing like an up-tempo basketball. You still got to execute. You can't throw it away. So I mean, maybe what you're trying to do is get in a rhythm, and you're trying to maybe get the defense on the heels, and you're trying to get those guys maybe not doing as much, but you still have to execute. So if you're going up tempo and going fast is not an answer. You still have to execute. And there's some advantages to it. There's some disadvantages. We'll talk a lot to quarterbacks. They might say, "Hey, I don't like this pass going. I need to see it a little bit better." So you just work through it. Every play is a little different. Sometimes players, one quarterback might be better suited. Some linemen, you might get in some passing situations where, hey, this is a good play fast for a lineman. Maybe it's not. You can help a guy, you can hurt a guy, and it's just a common sense. You just kind of play with it and try to work it out. But you don't want to be frantic. You want to go fast. It's the old John Wooden deal about you want to be not in a hurry, but quick. You don't want to rush, but you want to go fast. So it's learning how just to play within yourself at a reasonable tempo.
At right guard, who do you anticipate winning that job? I know you have a lot of guys vying for that right guard spot.
Yeah, again, I think we first of all, we need competition in a lot of spots, and even players that you might say, well, this guy's played a lot in the starter. You still want some competition. You need guys to come along. You always have injuries. You're not waiting for your time. Your time is now. To me, we're going to need 8 linemen that we can play championship football with. Typically, that's a second or third center, 3 guys inside. You can swing 3 tackles that can play high level. We'll see. I know we got a lot of bodies we're trying, but it's not going to be a rotation deal. When I say rotation, you get 2 plays, you get 2 plays, you get 2 plays. Sometimes you try to be so fair. It's not. We need some competition. Got to go ahead and kick some butt and win the daggum job.
Kevin, how's Marcus Ball looking at his recovery from the foot injury?
I think good. I think we're being just smart. Again, we're kind of, in coach's eyes, a little bit of extension of summer. And so I think he's where they want him to be, but we're trying to be smart with him. He's played a lot. I missed him in spring. I'm anxious to see him, but also need to be smart. I think he's played enough. He doesn't need volume, but he needs to go hard and full tilt when it's time. And what that's given, we've got Rashard Berry over there now, and with Luke, Farrell, Jake Hausman, Kier Hawkins, that gives those guys more reps. And the deal is just we need him when he's ready to be full speed. And I think that should be as we get cranked up here in about a week.
You weren't here for the Clemson loss. How much do you think that's still hanging over things?
I don't know if it's a hangover because I don't feel a negative vibe, although I do think I felt from the get-go this was a very mature team that with a lot of guys coming back, and it was a team that was working unbelievably hard. And that's not because it was a negative or an experience that didn't go positively. I think they were using that as positive motivation. I don't think it was a negative. So it's a team that works hard. It's unbelievable in their off-season training. It's a team that practices hard. The old players go very hard, and so there's no one like sitting on their hands and resting on their laurels. So it's a hungry football team, or the way they prepared to date. It'll be interesting as we go through preseason, as we go through the season. Is that one of the reasons why? Maybe. Maybe it's also just the culture that Coach Morardi, that Coach Myers created with JT and Billy and Paris and those guys being around. So maybe it's a product of that. Maybe it's probably a little bit of both. I don't know. But we don't sit around preaching or talk about it. But these kids do practice and prepare at a high level, and they're fun to coach because of that. I can promise you.
When you were an IU coach, it seemed like you would rave about JT Barrett. What is it like now to work with him?
Again, very mature. That every day is forcing us as an offensive staff he wants to get better. And so, Coach Day, every day he's got to come in prepared, ready to roll. He's doing an awesome job. He's a fantastic coach with a great player. And, again, he is an example of a kid that, one, he's very, very talented. He's played a lot, but he's a very mature kid that's hungry, working hard. And when your best players are veterans, they've played a lot, and yet they're working harder, that is a great image as a coach.
Are you going to make him a better passer?
I don't know as far as making. We're going to try to put him in good situations, and that's a little bit on Coach Day and all that. But we'll need to throw the ball well. We need to run it well. To me, balance, it's not trying to necessarily be 50-50, but when teams make you throw and give you those opportunities, you got to take advantage. There's times where you got to run it, and a really good football team can it's like playing basketball. You can go to the left or you can go to the right, and we got to be able to play with both hands.
Right. Kevin, how does JT's running ability at quarterback compare to the other quarterbacks you've coached in your career?
Goes a long way back. Again, the reason I kind of got me and Coach Meyer crossed paths because of Zach Kustok, that was a heck of a kid at Northwestern that transferred out of Notre Dame. He's one of my favorite players of all time, and I'm here because of him and a group of guys that bought into a little change. And he was the straw that stirred the drink, and he was a runner, and that got me to Oklahoma. But as soon as I got there, Jason White blew out a knee, and we got a little thin at quarterback, and it went away. And then Adrian Peterson showed up, and then Sam Bradford showed up, and we kind of evolved away from it just because we didn't have it. It's great to have a kid that can run, but in this day and age, the really elite team, the really elite player can do both. And he can extend the play. You can have quarterback design runs, but he can also distribute the ball in the passing game. And I'm looking forward to seeing JT and Dwayne, Joe, the whole crowd, everybody, Tate, all those guys progress that way.
At wide receiver, who are some guys that really need to step up at wide receiver? Like Terry McLaurin, we keep hearing about him, and Harris Campbell at H. Who are some guys you really want to see step up?
Johnny Dixon's been awesome, and through the preparation side, and had a phenomenal. We talk about, you saw him in spring game. Look, he had an awesome summer. And that's lifting weights and running, and we're not part of the football side, but his summer was as good. So those three guys are in there. Austin Mack, had an awesome first go and had a good summer. Kind of good to get him back in the mix. At slot, we've had E.G. Glover complimenting out there with Paris and K.J. Hill, those three kind of in the slot. Outside, Terry, Ben Victor, it's kind of too deep, and that's what we told those three big freshmen. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys, because we're going to need probably about 8, because you're going to need 3 guys at slot, and you're going to need 2 guys outside and a swing guy. So if we're going to play up tempo and block it well and throw it, we're going to need about 8. So you need starters, but we're going to need 8. We're going to need 3 tight ends. We need 2 or 3 running backs. We need a bunch of quarterbacks ready. We're going to need a lot of depth.
Talking about running backs, a lot of positive reports about J.K. Dobbins so far. I mean, what has he done as a true freshman, during his transition?
Being here for spring was awesome for him. Again, very smart, mature for a young kid, very explosive, dynamic. Let's do remember, as good as he's looked, he did miss last season. It's been a whole year since he's really played football. We did do a lot in spring, so he'll need to have a good preseason. And we'll need to bring Tony will do a great job bringing him along the right way. But he has looked very good, very talented kid.
I think Tate Martell was the only quarterback that wasn't in a non-contact jersey. Just how are y'all using him, and is there anything to read to that?
They're all kind of running the same deal. Just those other guys have earned the right not to get hit when you're a young guy. Now I think the defense knows they're not really. It's not cheap shots, but I think the quarterback's got. Sometimes when they wear that jersey, you feel like, there's this halo around you. And in reality, that's not the way it is. And so I think coach's policy through time is the kid has earned the right to take it off. So it's just to get him to feeling comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right. Kevin, your experience as a coordinator and as a head coach, can you just describe how much difference a good coordinator can make for a good head coach? I mean, I know the head coach sets everything, but just describe how much influence can you have? I
don't know if it's influence as much as you just take some stress off where he feels like, you're taking his message to the staff, and then from the staff throughout the players. So first of all, it's you having the ability, to be on the same page as him. And because to me, you just want every day when you walk out of the room, feel like, okay, he's giving me what I want, whether it be from the kicking side, the defensive side, the offensive side. So it's my job to earn his trust. And to me, I have to earn the right to be trustworthy, and show that every day, that me and Coach Day are working together to give him what he wants, to take that through Coach Stud, Coach Alford, and Coach Smith, to our coaching group, and then to filter that through the players. So, to me, it's but when I do, it frees him up, because if I can't, then he feels he has to be there to set that tone, whether it be in the kicking room, the defense room, the offensive room. So if you earn the trust, it allows the head coach, because he has so much to do. But as a head coach, if you earn that trust, most really good head coaches are going to be right in the middle of fixing it. So it's my job to show him that we've got it the way he wants it. I got to fight every day to do that.
He mentioned in Chicago that you're the most seasoned veteran offensive coordinator he's ever had, and kind of implied the fact that you've earned that trust. How do you think that that's going to change the way he approaches his job, based on the fact that, before you, they had a lot of either youth or inexperience at this position?
Again, just because it's no different than in teams, and one of my previous coaches used to say this all the time, just because last year's team we've done in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen going forward. So I have to show and prove and earn the right to be trustworthy, and that's my job. When you say I'm the most veteran guy, the other day we had a quick little physical and I had great results, but when they wrote the number 55 beside my name, I didn't like that number, so that also means I'm getting older. So to be the most experienced guy sometimes is slightly sad for what it's worth, because you're getting older every year. So I still feel like I'm 35 and it's 1985. Here we go.
I imagine you don't spend too much time on message boards, but fans are very excited about you. Ohio State fans are very excited about the impact you could have. Have you noticed as to how Ohio State fans have embraced you even before you've coached a game here?
I wouldn't say notice, but I haven't been a head coach yet, but the experience of coaching previous those 9 years at Oklahoma, where the fan base is so rabid, you start. And again, I appreciate the fans, I appreciate their opinions, I appreciate the media, and I appreciate their opinions. And you coach a position or do a job that's very scrutinized, and you don't take it personal. And so right now, you're very loved because you've yet to call the play, and it really counts. And so, or whatever the days are from them being the most hated guy around, because it comes with the territory. But as much as someone criticizes, I think, internally, I think the head coach and you as the offense coach, you criticize yourself because you're pushing yourself every day to be better. And so you don't use it as motivation. It's not negative. It is what it is. And quite honestly, you embrace that challenge. And, and sometimes because it'll turn you to be negative, it's nice to be in a place where it can be negative, because that means people truly just care and they want success. And that's a part of, to me, it's part of college sports, part of pro sports. And there's a standard they expect you to uphold. That's what I'm saying. Coach Myers is a standard. I've got to show him trustworthy. Same thing with the fans. And it is. You don't call a play. I've called every play thinking it was going to score, and about half of them are total duds, and once in a while one works. So.
And you always played Ohio State tough at Indiana. I mean, every year I think. I think that's another reason I think the fans are excited about you here, because they've seen you up close with just how well you've played against Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, again, every year it was different. Every team was different. At the same time, we never won. So we didn't. We just tried to work hard with the group over there, a great group of kids that tried to buy and try to get them to believe in themselves and play hard and not back down. And quite honestly, as good as this team is, I'm trying to work really hard with our line, our tight end, our front guys, and our offense to still have that hunger and that enthusiasm about playing hard and being an aggressive, attack-oriented person and offense and player. And that's I mean, at the same time, still it was never good enough. And so we didn't. I appreciate how hard we played in some of those games, but it wasn't the result. Anyway.
Indiana's saying this is their biggest home opener in school history. When you hear that, Kevin, what goes through your mind?
Well, to me, it should be, because it's the next one. And just like, to me, it's our biggest opener because it's this year. And to me, each game, each opportunity is the biggest one. And again, they got a strong team coming back. And those guys are, again, the guys, again, you hug them and you shake their hands and welcome aboard, and you know them. And it's a group that the talent level's improved, and there's a lot of things in place with player development, with the weight room and things going on. So they're going to be an extremely good team. It's going to be a strong challenge. But to me, those games are coming. Right now it's day one. We're in a little acclimation period, getting us into the preseason. We need to keep stacking up some good days, and we need to have a great preseason. And come game week, then you get in the game mode and start talking about the games.
Kevin, when you review last year's film, what did you think of the way that they utilized tempo? And do you feel like it needs to be faster? And do you have like a time limit or a way that you can maybe explain the way that you view how tempo is going to work for you guys this year?
Yeah, again, I've never had like you were trying to snap a play in X amount of seconds. So I'm looking, you want to play snap, like they'll put that clock there sometimes. Right. I never looked at the clock. I was just kind of watching the defense and what can you do to be as sound as you can be and get the defense uncomfortable and on their heels. And so I'd like to be, but again, the more complicated the scheme, the more complicated the language, the more you make a player think, then the slower you have to go. So, and some plays take time. Not every play's fast. Like I said, it's not a fast break basketball team doesn't fast break all the time. And there's going to be certain times, certain games, no matter what's going on, you got to slow it down because of the dynamics of where you're at in the half or where you're at in the game. So, again, I like to kind of go as fast as we can, but we got to be smart.
Were they fast